Good afternoon. This is Effiong-Jones. You're tuning to another episode of So Let's Talk. Today we're at City Hall for the event of the Z Generation versus Parents to talk about an issue that's really been plaguing us, which is the knife and gun crime within our community. Working panels to try and get people together. So let's talk about some real practical solutions. For this event, we've got parents, we've got a representative of the mayor's office in the house, and we've also got people from the Nigerian Crime Commission.
Hi guys, my name is Oyen. I'm here at City Hall to talk about youth crime with Parent and Generation Z. It's going to be a great evening of conversation, panels, group discussions and speeches from amazing people, so I'm really excited for tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Juliet Benson, a practicing solicitor at Juliet Benson Solicitors. I'm here at City Hall today. We will, in our own little way, find out possible solutions to the knife and gun crisis. It's not another talk event. It's far more than that. We want to put our heads together, want to put on our thinking hat, and we want to find out sustainable solution to the issue at hand. You would agree with me that as a parent, when you hear in the news that another child is just slumped and is in a critical condition, the first thing that comes to your mind is where are your children, where is Kemi, where is Ayo, where is Ade, which borough, where did they happen, and it goes on and on. And it is really painful and worrying that we have to live in a society with that fear. Now, why are we so concerned about this, we in the Nigerian community? In 2008, 11% of the victims were of Nigerian origin. And in 1 month last year, 4 Nigerian youth were killed in 1 month. And then it's not just the victim, also, if you're a family of a perpetrator, it's a stigma, isn't it? It's a stigma with you. It's hard. It's really hard to deal with. So, and we're not going to fold our arms and say we wait for the government to do something. We can start something. We can start something. And I'm so grateful that we got really professionals in this room who we have social and legal experiences, and we can come up with possible solutions to deal with these issues at hand. And we're not there most of the time. And then this child is looking for someone to recognize them, to belong, to respect them and all that. And when they come home, you're not there to listen to them because you're thinking about trying to put food on the table, but you're doing more damage by that. Having said that, please, there's a clause to this. Having said that, you might be the best parent in the world and still have the worst child. So I'm not only saying that parents don't get it right all the time. The event today is very interactive. We're going to have a breakout section soon, and we want the youth to please participate in this. This is your opportunity.
Very, very important event, so we are all here. This has been termed the Generation Z. If you're in the US, Generation Z. What does that mean? Well, the Generation Z generation, they have a very low tolerance for hypocrisy. That's one of the first things you find about these kids. Whether you're a parent or not, they tell you exactly what they are thinking. And if you've tried as hard as some of us have to teach them that we still have African heritage, and there are degrees of respectability in terms of how you address your parents and speak to your parents, then you'll be in trouble. So we have made sure they are taught that very, very strongly. Is how do we get to these people where they can hear? I've been to all manner of forums. I've seen so many. I don't know, we just have to keep trying. Now, before I go any further this evening, what I'd like you to do for me, please, is help me appreciate Juliet Benson. All right, just give Juliet a big hand. No, seriously.
His Excellency, the High Commissioner, ably represented by the Welfare Minister, Mr. Polinos Monkoro, you're very welcome. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the combined program between the Central Association of Nigerians in the UK in collaboration with Juliet Benson Solicitors. These have been put together purposely to address the imminent subject of knife and gun crime within the youthful generation, Generation Z, we call it. CANUC is the umbrella organization for all Nigerian associations in the UK. It is linked to the welfare section of the Nigerian High Commission. The aim of its establishment is to support the High Commission in its work and to reach out to Nigerians resident in the United Kingdom. It is a non-political organization. The Executive Council of CANUC had earlier had a major event called the Modern Day Slavery. Now, I will not move forward without acknowledging the presence of some of the members of the Executive Council here. May I please introduce the first Vice Chair, Mrs. Ronke Odofia. Could you please lead the way? May I also recognize the second Vice Chair of CANUC, Mr. Malcolm Benson. I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of the Assistant Welfare Officer, Mrs. Agatha Anyewo. Please give her a round of applause. And most importantly, our sister and the legal guru of CANUC, Juliet Benson. Please give her a round of applause. The event will not serve its purpose by only casting aspersions, but should be demonstrably solution-driven. The daily loss of lives have become a great concern to all in this country, and as community leaders, parents and government, it is incumbent on us to jointly tackle the problem from the nucleus rather than on superficial periphery.
Okay, and we're here at City Hall today. You're representing the High Commission.
Yes, I'm representing the High Commissioner in this event today.
Thank you.
His Excellency has, however, directed me to inform you that the High Commission is fully in support of this initiative of CANUC and the fact that the seminar would not have come at a more auspicious time than now that knife and gun crime has reached unprecedented level in the United Kingdom. The High Commission notes with great concern the devastating effects of knife and gun crimes in the British society today, which calls for urgent steps to be taken to stem the tide. It is therefore the expectation of the High Commission that this seminar will provide a viable platform to discuss extensively the menace towards the evolving potent mechanisms that will further complement the efforts of the UK government in dealing with the problem. On this note, I would like to commend CANUC and especially the Juliet Benson Solicitors Limited for the effort they have put in making this seminar a reality. At this juncture, I want to reassure you of the continued support and collaboration of the High Commission for the successful hosting of this event and many other good initiatives that CANUC desires to pursue in the future, as long as they will help in promoting the welfare of Nigerians in the United Kingdom.
Shedada Niowa. And for those of you who don't speak Yoruba, I'd like to, first of all, Minister, honoured guests, I'd like to welcome you to City Hall. This is the seat of London government. This is where many, many very important decisions are made about how we are going to run London, how we run it now, how we run it in the future. And it's a great honour to have such a wonderful room for the very handsome men and very beautiful women. Of course, we have a very beautiful woman in my wife here as well. And as they say, behind every successful man is an amazed woman. I used to be the advisor to Steve Greenhouse. She was the Deputy Mayor for Policing and Crime under Boris Johnson. We had far less crime than we have now, and I was his advisor for crime reduction and prevention. So allegedly I do know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I want Tayo to tell you a little bit about some work that we're doing in my area, which I think is really, really good. So, first of all, knife and gun crime. How do we reduce it? Well, that is very simple. I don't know how. The Mayor hasn't got a handle on this. We reduce it very quickly by enforcement. We need to make sure that people who carry guns and knives feel very uncomfortable in our streets. Not us, innocent people, feeling uncomfortable, but criminals feeling uncomfortable. How do we do that? We put more police on the streets. And although this isn't popular with some, we do more stop and search. It's a well-known fact that a number of knife incidents and stabbings the knives that are used are actually belonging to fairly innocent people who carry the knives for their own protection, and then that knife gets used on them. So stop and search does two things, and I've got evidence of this. First of all, innocent people or people who don't feel safe will not carry a knife because they don't want to get caught with knives. So that takes a whole load of knives off the street. Secondly, criminals will be less likely to carry a knife because they're more likely to be stopped and more likely to be searched and more likely to have that knife removed from them and obviously charged with carrying a knife. So it's very clear. And then the other thing we need, which unfortunately the Mayor doesn't have control of, is convictions. Once someone is caught with a knife, we need to have them convicted, we need to lock them up, we need to get them off the streets. So that is how we reduce knife crime.
At the moment, I'm coordinating the Stop and Search Monitoring Group in Richland and the Hate Crime Working Group. So in my own little sphere, I do some sort of community engagement, and I do support kids, as most of the time I cross paths every now and then. I found out that in Eastborough, there is a family, or there is an organization, You and Me Counseling, and he felt it was a very good idea. It's a Nigerian lady. He set up an appointment, and we met. I listened to what she had to say, and we're just supporting to carry the intervention to a better level by trying to help raise funds to be able to carry out most of the intervention. It was something she came to because of personal experience. And you know, when you have a personal experience, there's a level of passion that comes into the work that you're able to really achieve something exceptional.
Yeah, so I'm here at the moment with a mother who's lost a son. I'm so emotional, I'm so sorry. This is such a hard thing for me. But I guess even harder for you. Can you just tell us your name and your son's name?
My name is Juliet Ali. I'm the mother of Effiong David, who was shot on the 25th of March 2018.
I mean, this happened not too long ago. I mean, just over a year ago. What prompted you to take part in an event like this?
What prompted me was that when Abraham died, the whole part of me died as well. And there are parents out there going through the same thing. And what prompted me again was to advise the youths that no matter how someone offended you, killing is not the answer.
Can you just show us a picture of Abraham again? So I don't know if you can catch it. This is him during his master's degree when he graduated. Abraham was a victim as a result of him helping out to try and he stopped a girl from being gang raped. So he stopped a girl from being gang raped and gave evidence in court. 4 years, I believe, after that.
10 years after.
10 years after, he was tracked down, and he was gunned down by the people who, some of the people who were involved in the crime. Although these people were convicted, and I think the main person in there was sentenced to life, life didn't mean life, you know. They were allowed out, and, you know, events like this is not just to highlight the issue with gun and knife crime, is to see how we can prevent something like this from happening, and also how this is a situation where I believe the system failed this young man, you know, when he came to protection. You know, he did his bit, you know, the mom did her bit, but the system failed, you know, to protect this family.
He was a Liverpool fan and was passionate about playing football and teaching football to the kids. He volunteered with. My son was a happy guy. He was talented and he loved helping other people. I believe I was blessed with a son that continuously searched for happiness and hope, despite any circumstances. And he also encouraged others to find this in their own lives too. Abraham, where we were living before, we were living in Frampton Park Estate, E9. We had a group of boys that they used to play together. They used to play football. It was in secondary school then. So something happened in, I think, October 2008. So there were a group of boys that gang raped a 14-year-old girl. I think there were 9 boys. And Abraham was coming from a lesson, like, you know, after school lesson. So he had a noise in that high-rise building, and they said there was a party going on, that one of them was celebrating his birthday, and he went there, and he found out that they were gang raping a girl. So Abraham tried as much as possible with another boy. They escaped with that girl. He rescued the girl out, and they both ran out. And the girl called her dad, and the dad went to police station. After that, the rest was just history. So about 4 days after, the police came to my house because the girl mentioned Abraham's name, that he rescued her. And after that, they said they charged those boys. No, before they charged them to court, they asked Abraham to come to the police station, like to be a witness for the police. And at first, I didn't agree, but later the police threatened me that I will be charged for perverting the course of justice if I don't allow him. So that was when I said, okay. So since then, so when the court case started, the police will come to our house to pick Abraham to court. And all those boys around, you know, we were living together, like it's an estate, Frampton Park Estate. So everybody knew that Abraham rescued the girl out. So, and after Abraham was receiving threatening messages that you are a dead man, you are this, you are that. So he was so scared. And the police promised to protect him. And after that, so after the case, the court case, they sentenced those 9 boys. They are still on the internet, but they are grown now. So they sentenced them. The leader got life imprisonment. Others got like 8 years, 6 years. So After that, Abraham gained admission to Bristol Bristol College to start his A-levels. So he moved down to Bristol, and they moved us from Frampton Park Estate to Amos Road, another flat. But Abraham was in Bristol then. So there was a day Abraham came home on a bank holiday. So then my neighbor then was an old woman, a white old woman. And the woman died after like 2 years and moved in, or 3 years. And later they moved in another neighbor. So one day Abraham was coming from Bristol, and I saw one of those boys. It was like after 3 years, he saw one of those boys, and he ran back and he called me that, "Mom, I saw one of those Frampton Park boys around that area." I said, "Oh, there is a party going on here. Maybe he came for the party." So I told him to go to his friend's house. Then I would call him. Around 11:30, I called him. He came back home. The next morning was Saturday morning. He was in the kitchen washing dishes, and he saw the new neighbor. And he shouted, "Mom, Mom, Mom, come." I went down. I said, "What happened?" He said, "Is that the new neighbor?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Oh, I can't stay in this house. This woman is is a mother to one of those boys." So immediately he went back to Bristol. So on Monday morning, I called to Newton Police Station to ask for the officer in charge of the case, and that was like after 4 years later. That was 2013, and they said the officer has been transferred. So later, the officer got in touch with me. I explained everything to him, and he asked that where do I want to move to. I said anywhere apart from Acme. So already I've applied to Camden Council. To cut the story short, the Camden Council says I'm not the victim, that Abraham is the victim, and he lives in Bristol, that they cannot move me.
They say it happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Not all the time do you see what the child looks like in order to say this is going to be a child that's going to pass away. It could be anybody, it could be your child. It's about taking those preventative strategies now to ensure that it doesn't happen to you.
So we're just taking a break from the event. We're here at the Z generation versus, I'm so sorry, this event's been so moving. We've just taken a break after hearing from two parents, two mothers who lost their children to a knife crime, tell their story. It's just been extremely emotional. We had to take a break. So hello, just give us your name and tell us why you're here today.
My name is Rachel Webb, and I've just come to share my victim impact statement around knife crime.
Okay, so you lost your son to knife crime. Could you tell us his name?
His name was Kyron Webb.
And how old was he?
15.
15. What has prompted you? I mean, I know losing a son to something like this will make you want to sort of get involved in this, but what's really pushed you or given you the strength to come and just take part in this?
I think it's more so of when something so tragic happens, you kind of know you're never going to be the same who you used to be, and you try to work out who you're going to be on the other side. And I think for me is when I think about how great my son was and how much love he had for people, it kind of made me feel that I had to take his legacy to what he was building and then keep doing it. So I couldn't save my own son, but I can help save somebody else's.
Do you have a picture of him?
I do on my phone.
While you look for that, there was something you said when you were talking, and I just would like you to repeat that. What was the reason why he was stabbed?
We were told that a group had made a song, and Kyron had been on Snapchat and had said that he didn't like the song.
You hear that? He didn't like the song, and that's why he was stabbed. He really fought. How old was he?
15.
He was 15 years old. He fought. His mom told the story of how when he collapsed, when he was stabbed, and he didn't die straight away. He staggered to try to get to safety, to try and move away from the situation, and he died 3 days after the incident happened. My heart goes out to you. I want to shine the light on this young man.
So I'm Nero, and I'm one of the special advisors to the Prime Minister. So my portfolio is social justice, opportunities, and young people. So this issue is particularly close to my heart. Before joining Number 10, I was chief executive of an organization called Croydon BME Forum in Croydon. So as you can imagine, I've been working on these issues for a very long time. And every year we think that we're going to solve the problem, but unfortunately it just keeps getting out of hand. About a week ago, last week or just a week before, Monday the week before, we held a serious youth violence summit at Number 10. That was because there was, the number of incidents this year already were so extraordinary that the Prime Minister felt that she needed to convene essentially the whole country to have a conversation about this problem to see what we can do about it. And that conversation convened people like yourselves, leaders in the community, leaders from organizations that are working with young people, the black churches and church leaders more broadly, but also the public services that work with young people, those who are at the enforcement end, but also those who are working at the education end as well, to see what we can do as a government to address this problem. During the week, there was quite a number of announcements about things that the government is seeking to do. One of them is within my responsibility, which is about designing a new offer for young people. So that's something that's already been announced, and we are in the process of working with departments to come up with, programs that are more geared towards the early intervention, preventative end, to support young people before we get into all these kind of problems. As part of that conversation, we also, the Prime Minister also met 5 parents who, similar to what we've heard from today, to talk about the issues that they faced. And I think Rachel made a point that sometimes when we hear young people have been killed, we jump to conclusions that they must be part of a gang or they must be a problematic person. But what the evidence clearly shows is that all kinds of people fall victim to these issues. What I can say to you is that there is very, very strong concern from the Prime Minister down that something serious must be done on these issues. One of the things she said as part of her speech on that day was that we're simply not going to arrest our way out of this problem. And the second thing was that it's not a problem that government alone can solve. It's a problem that we, all of us as a society, have to work together to solve. Which is why I think this event is particularly important, because what you do need is communities to come together to work out solutions and work out ideas of what we can do to address the problem. And then government can think about how it can support you in your efforts. So I hope that the different communities that are here can find ways, as Rachel said as well, something's happened to her and she's decided to use her voice to be part of the solution. So I think we all should work to be part of the solution and encourage others to talk about it as well. For parents who have children who are experiencing difficulties, especially difficulties that are going in this sort of direction, I think we have to think clearly about how we seek solution, how we seek help, where we go for support. I know the support may not always be there, but we have to think about what interventions we can put in place. And for those whose children are likely or living in because part of the problem is areas where we sometimes live. There are some hot spots across London. You all know the boroughs where a lot of these incidents are happening. So I think we have to find very careful solutions within those particular hotspots to see what can be done to support young people in those places. I often feel on a personal basis that some of these young people are stuck in a kind of a strange place. I'm not sure a lot of them wake up to say, I'm going to go and kill somebody today. There is something that's clearly gone wrong, and we need to find ways to have those conversations in our communities to help to resolve this problem. So I really encourage you to continue what you're doing, and thank you very much for inviting me.
This is the 20th year anniversary of the McPherson Report. We spoke about institutional racism in policing. I am a serving police officer. I work in Wales. I've been recently working in Bristol. A lot of the stuff that we've been talking about, my team's been dealing with people being stabbed and the like recently. So this is something that's a very important issue to us. I think the answer lies within the community. It's been good to listen tonight to what you've had to say. I look forward to getting the write-up of this and seeing if we can put this into practice in Wales and in Bristol and in other places as well. Just one last thing as well. I'm the first president of the National Black Police Association who's African and Nigerian.
Yes, I'm Juliet and thank you so much. But my question is to the young lady who was talking about JB Solicitors. What does it feel like you working at JB Solicitors? And I'm waiting for that answer.
I'm given something to do, so I'm not on the streets like some kids feel that they have to be because they have nothing to do. Yeah, that's it really.
And thank you so much for that answer, because I'd like to leave you with one thing here today. If you're of any employer and you've got vacancies for work placement, please do support this youth. Let us give them a chance in their workplace, and many, many thanks to every single person, all the forums.
Saying that I'm a mum's only child, and I was raised in a single parent home, and I feel like a lot of parents put a lot of pressure on their children, which causes them to act out. So personally, that's my opinion.
I second that, to be honest with you. She took the words right out of my mouth. Even if you as a parent is feeling pressure, you can't put that on your child. The reason why I say that is because the reason why you have that pressure in the first place is because the responsibility belongs to you. And a lot of the things that the children end up doing, they do it as a result of this pressure that has been transferred down to them. And I say that from experience, and I probably say that they will say the same thing.
Just to add as well, I think that parents need to be skilled up on what's going on in this environment we live in. So like somebody said about social media, it plays a big, it takes a big advantage in the young people's lives nowadays. So they have to be aware of what's going on thing. And I know it's on social media platforms, and I know it's difficult because, there's certain slangs and there's certain codes, but it's your responsibility to know where your children are as well. Okay. So I think that's a very good thing. Can we please give this panel a round of applause?
Another thing is communication. So when you are a parent, sometimes you feel like your first and foremost priority is to make sure that you provide for your child. But it's not just about financial provision. Make sure that you're there for your child in terms of having someone to talk to, having someone to confide in, being not just a parent to your child but a friend.
My name is Palawaya Tolabe. I'm a solicitor at Juliet Benson Solicitors. The question we have on our table is, if asked why a young person who is in life, what are your thoughts? We've identified 5 or 6 reasons why young people hold the knife. First one is to defend themselves. When youth go out these days, they don't know what they are going to meet. And you find the most responsible child or young person having the thought to carry a knife just in case, you know. I was coming down from the station about 3 or 4 months ago, and I just came out of Kildon Tube Station, Jubilee Line. I think there is a bridge overhead. Just under that bridge, 2 young people were going, 2 young boys, and one that was coming in the opposite side. Just looked at him and just went for him. You know, this very young, beautiful looking girl was just going away and saw the 2 of them. The scuffle was, you never knew what would come from that. This girl, surprisingly to me, went there and said, no, stop this. And somehow she put an end to it. Who knows what would have happened from that? This boy was just attacked by the other boys. Yes. Next time this boy was going out, he probably would have the idea of carrying a knife just to defend himself. Fear factor, well, that is linked to defending. And again, to show off. You know, young people do carry knife now as a street credibility thing. It gives us street cred. You know, it doesn't mean that it's involving crime or whatever, but just to show off and impress his friend that, you know. There is also the issue of peer pressure being put upon fellow youths by their groups, you know, to carry a knife and belong. And again, to attack their fellow young people. Some young people are just very aggressive for whatever reasons in their home or in their life, and they are just looking for people on whom they can, you know, carry this out on.
They did say that we talked about it for Generation Z, their characteristics, just like you said before, and they said they were like 2 identity, that sometimes in the home, they're different in terms of the identity that kids will have in the home, and then outside as well, but that's different because of what social groups kind of impose on them culturally. But what we then decided was that parents need to actually learn, be aware of what this Generation Z need to be able to cope and live in the society that we are in at the moment. And that's it really. We said that they don't have the skills yet. The parents need to build the skills to be able to support them. And it's like they said before as well, other groups that have spoken, is that we all need to come together to, it takes a village, I say here, to raise a child. So we all need to come together and raise our kids.
Our question for table number 3 was the 3 most important issues to Generation C. And we felt like it was knife crime, drugs, and gun crime. All these things are so easy to get, which is a problem. And all these things come under social media. We felt like social media makes these 3 things worse, because maybe if we didn't see like rappers post themselves with knives, or drug dealers post themselves the money that they get, or the new shoes that they bought, we wouldn't think that these things are good or fun to do.
Oh, thank you. My name is Susan Fadana Thomas. I'm a councillor in London Borough of Hackney and a socio-political campaigner for many years. In particular, I'm very passionate about young people's engagement. So that is part of why I'm here today. I've been doing quite a few work around mentoring young people since the increase in youth violence in the UK.
How do you think the event is going so far?
The event is going well. I'm very pleased with the attendance. But having said that, many of the people that we wanted to be in the room, they're not in the room, but it is a good event. I'm very proud of Juliet Benson and the other organizers of this evening's event.
And do you have any comments about, so we're just taking a break from hearing from two moms who lost their children to knife crime. It got very emotional in there. Do you have any comments?
I think the comment is what those 2 months brought out. Many of us or many people have the perception that many victims. I think what the engagement with the event brought out was that not all of the victims of knife crime are in gangs. Some of them are innocent. Some of them are in the wrong place at the right time. Are in the wrong place at the wrong time. So it is very important that our children or our young people, they need, as parents, we need to educate our young people in terms of their association. That is very important.
Thank you very much.
I know that the time is running and we've overrun our time and people are hungry, so I'm going to try and be a Generation Z, where barristers are known to be verbose. I think it's very important for me to share this evening the perspective that I come from, because by the time a young person comes to me, they're already in serious trouble. And you are in what I call the Russian roulette of the criminal justice system. And so it breaks my heart doing the kind of cases I do. About 2 weeks ago, I sat at my kitchen table working on a case that's coming up very, very soon. And as I prepared the case, I started to cry. And my son came up to me and said, "Dad, what's wrong?" And I said, "Son, I can't show you what I'm looking at. But when I see what I'm looking at, I can only think of you." And I was looking at the dead body of a young man who had just been examined by a pathologist for a cause of death. And it's a young Nigerian boy. The murder trial starts at the end of this month. And I could only weep because all I could see was my son. And unlike a lot of barristers who do this kind of work, I feel it more than most of my colleagues, because most of my colleagues are affluent white men. I feel it when I'm in the courtroom and I see the broken hearts of mothers of the deceased and the broken hearts of the young men who are waiting to be tried. Whistle stop tour. Knife crime, the courtroom view. Can I have the next slide, please? Now, amongst some of the gangbangers and the youngsters who think they're bad boys on the street, let me tell you, by the time you get to that courtroom, which is just about 2 miles from here, you're going to be really scared. Because this isn't some little magistrate's court, this is the #1 court in the land. It's old, it's steeped in history. People used to be taken from there and hung. And by the time a young man or a young woman comes into that building, no matter how brave they feel they are on their state, when they're charged with murder and they're in a courtroom that looks like that, which is old, it's designed to make you feel intimidated, with a judge who's sitting up in a high chair, the jury box all panelled in wood, and you in the dock in the middle. It's a very intimidating place. And so I say there may be some notoriety in being a famous courtroom when many historic cases have been heard, but it comes with unspoken fear by those on trial. And I've seen the faces of the youth who on the street are the big men, the bad men. When they get in that building, they're like little sheep. Next slide, please. What I also tell the young people is, and I tell my sons this, you always want to be in control. You never want to put your life in the decisions are going to be made for you by somebody else. When that jury walks into the room and they're empaneled to try your case, there are 12 people who don't know you, most probably don't even live in the world that you live in, but they are being entrusted on oath to give true verdicts according to the evidence. Now that's very hard for a human being to do, because sometimes their own prejudices creeps in because the media is fueling this thing about young people being in gangs, grime music. So they see a young black boy, most of the time, who dresses a certain way, uses a certain kind of street language, and they just feel guilty even before they've even heard the evidence. So, you are going to be tried by a jury of 12 men and women, selected at random, who don't know you. And the judge who's trying it is usually a very senior judge, a high court judge, a crusty judge sometimes, but a high court judge. And he, along with the jury, are in charge of your child's destiny. Next slide, please. Why is education so important? It's important, as I witnessed today when I called my client just down the road in a rape case. And in trying to articulate your case, and you can't do it because you don't have the diction to communicate with the jury. So the jury are looking at you thinking, what are you saying? Not being able to project your voice so that you can speak with the confidence, protesting your innocence. Our youth, because they don't read books, are unable to communicate their case. They rely on their lawyers to do all the donkey work by questioning witnesses. But when it comes to you giving your account of why you were not involved, why you didn't commit the murder, why you weren't in possession of the knife, you cannot articulate yourself properly. And that also comes with not understanding legal principles. They don't know that if you have convictions for robbery or some other kind of offences, the prosecution can introduce your bad character as part of the case, which then shows that you have a propensity to commit crime, which then tells the jury it's more likely than not that you are the person who committed that offence. They don't understand the liability of secondary parties, which means that if you go out on the road with somebody and they're armed with a knife, and you know he's got a knife and he decides to use it, and you actively encourage him, or you're there, you are likely to be charged with murder. That's why you see cases where there are 5 young men charged with murder, but only one person stabbed the person. They don't understand turning Queen's evidence when somebody decides they're going to help the prosecution in return for a lighter sentence, and the repercussions of having to have your family moved, as the lady who spoke before. They don't understand that concept. They don't understand that there are anonymous witnesses who are protected by the courts who can give evidence about what you've been up to, but they don't have to be named in court. They don't understand the principle of joint enterprise. They don't understand that juries are invited to make inferences about certain characteristics, and that if you're listening to grime music and it's portraying stabbing someone, that the jury could draw an inference from your interest in that kind of music and an affiliation with gangs. They don't understand assisting and encouragement of the principal offender, all these legal terms that we use in court. They don't understand that if your mobile telephone is being used, the police have all the resources to interrogate that phone, to see where you were, who you were moving with just before the murder happened. And they do that to show the joint enterprise that you were with that person moments before he decided to stab somebody. So it's more likely that you knew. Mandatory sentences for murder. If you're convicted of murder, it's a mandatory sentence. It's a life sentence. And if you're over 18, you are going to be getting 20 years, 25 years straight sentence for stabbing somebody. If you shoot somebody, it's 30 years. And that's the whole term. A lot of these kids do not understand it. And as I say to them, that's 30 birthdays, 25 Christmases. Think about it. Next slide. There are no winners. The deceased family, as we've seen today, they serve a life sentence. Defendants, unfulfilled ambitions through 20 to 30 year sentences. They become institutionalized with few options in an ever-changing world. Poor income and employment opportunities. There's a generation of children who don't seem to have any fear, and where no hope is left no fear, and that's what's scary. That's it. I'm out of time, but it's so important that our youth understand what's waiting for them in the criminal justice system, because it's no joke.